CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts and Lisa Collin for supporting the channel and being amazing members. So if you enjoy what you hear tonight, you're in the right place. Now, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. What kind of story hits you the hardest? The ones that feel too real, or the ones that could actually happen to someone you know? My sister sold her nudes on the dark web for a dare. The buyer sent a video of someone wearing her face. She thought it was just a joke. Yo, I don't even know how to start this without sounding absolutely insane. But whatever. I've been sitting on this for weeks, and it's been eating at me. This isn't a karma grab or some creepypasta lop. This happened. I need someone to hear this and maybe tell me I'm not crazy. Or maybe I am. Who knows? But here goes. So, this happened in October. Yeah, the most cliche horror month of the year, I know. But that's what made it feel like a joke at first. Like it was all some prank cooked up for clout. My sister Jenna had just turned 19. She's one of those chronically online types, always bouncing between TikTok and those late night Discord calls with strangers who may or may not be who they say they are. She started following this trend that was circulating on some TikTok alt accounts, the ones that get deleted within hours, the kind that only show up if you really dig through the hashtags like Deep Web Challenge or 21 Dares. Most people think these are ARGs or viral marketing campaigns, but this wasn't. I wish it was. It all started as a dare. She told me, laughing, that one of the Discord people dared her to post a censored nude of herself on a dark web forum. Not Reddit, not 4chan, actual dark web, like Tor browser, onion links, the whole deal. She said it was for XP, like it was a damn video game. The server had a ranking system, weird usernames with no profile pics, and moderators who only typed in broken Russian. I only saw it once, when she showed me her phone real quick. The interface looked like Craigslist from hell. I remember her laughing. "It's anonymous," she said, holding up her phone with a blurred out pic of her in a black hoodie and nothing else. Her face wasn't in it, no identifying marks. She said she even used a voice changer when she uploaded a short intro clip, like some kinda OnlyFans horror parody. "Watch me get $5 from a bored millionaire in Belarus," she joked. But it wasn't funny the next morning, because someone paid her $500, sent in crypto instantly. Then they asked for more. This time, they wanted her to say a specific phrase. "Do you like the mask I wear?" That's all. Just that, in a whisper. No face, no name, just the line. She thought it was hilarious, said it sounded like some weird SCP ritual or something. She even made it aesthetic, lit a red LED behind her bed, and wore this white plastic mask she got from Spirit Halloween. One of those blank, expressionless ones, like from The Purge. She posted it. The next day, she woke up to 13 missed calls from a no-caller ID and an email with a video attachment. Here's where it got fucked. I watched it. It was her room. Same LED glow, same blanket, same mask, but it wasn't her. Because whoever it was, they weren't moving right. They were twitching. The arms, the posture. It was like watching someone who didn't know how a body should sit. They stared into the camera with that same white mask. Then they reached up and pulled it off. It was her face underneath. Not a similar face, not makeup, not AI, not a deep fake. It was hers. Scar on the right eyebrow, same mole above her lip, same chipped tooth she'd had since she fell off her bike in 6th grade. Only, the face was sagging, like it didn't belong to the skull underneath, like it was being worn, and the eyes behind it weren't hers. They were too wide, glassy, twitching like a trapped animal. No blink, just stare. Then the figure whispered the same line she said the night before, only distorted, like a tape that had been played too many times. "Do you like the mask I wear?" I swear to God, I couldn't breathe after that. My chest got tight. I threw the phone. I thought it was a prank, a really good one. Like maybe she hired someone or edited it somehow. But when I turned to her, she was already pale, shaking. "I never sent them a photo of my face," she whispered. "How do they have my face?" We spent hours tearing apart her phone, her apps, her email. Nothing made sense. She swore she didn't send anything that could have been traced. I believed her. She was scared. She even unplugged her Alexa and wrapped her webcam in aluminum foil like a goddamn conspiracy theorist. And that night, she refused to sleep in her room. We bunked on the couch together. I tried to act chill, like maybe we were just being paranoid, but every sound made her flinch. The fridge humming, the pipes, even the TikTok notification chime. She'd just stare at her phone like it was ticking. Around 3:33 a.m., her phone buzzed again. New email. Subject: Mask number 2. Attachment: a video. I told her not to open it. She didn't listen. This one was different. There were 2 figures now, both in her room. One wore the white mask. The other was holding a scalpel. That's when I noticed it. The thing in the back wasn't standing. It was hanging, upside down. Its hair was dripping. Water or blood. I don't know. The mask was tilted like its neck had been broken, but it still stared at the camera. The second one moved like it was underwater, slow, flowing, and then turned to face the viewer. It was me, but not me now. It was me from the video I recorded in 8th grade for that Charlie challenge. Same hoodie, same acne, same dumbass braces. It wasn't possible. Jenna screamed and chucked her phone against the wall, cracking the screen. We turned all the lights on and stayed awake until the sun came up. Next morning, the video was gone, like it had never been there. Email, deleted, no trace. But the LED in her room, it turned itself on, blood red, even though she swore it wasn't plugged in. That's when we realized this wasn't about dares or games anymore. They had her face, and now they had mine too. There's no sleep anymore. I can't remember the last time I saw darkness without a screen lighting it up. Shadows move now, even when I don't blink. I know how that sounds. I do. But what happened next made sleep a luxury I can't afford anymore. So after the second video, we did what any 2 freaked out, dumbass siblings would do. We tried to act normal. I went back to work at Target like I didn't just see a version of myself from 2015 standing in my sister's room, staring into a camera held by whatever that thing was. Jenna stopped using Discord, deleted TikTok. She even tried burning the Halloween mask, but it wouldn't catch. It was plastic. It should have melted, but the flames rolled off like oil on water. It didn't burn, just warped into something uglier, like it was grinning. A week passed. Then we found the door. It started with a sound, a scratching. I thought it was rats at first. We lived in a crappy townhouse near the edge of downtown, that part of the city where everything looks like a Starbucks ad during the day and a cracked den at night. But this scratching wasn't coming from the floorboards. It was inside the wall, directly behind Jenna's headboard. She knocked on it. It knocked back. 3 slow thuds, then silence. We looked at each other. Neither of us wanted to say the word. Knocking. That word didn't feel right. It sounded too human, too expected. That night we moved her bed away from the wall and stripped it down. There was no door, no hatch, just drywall. So I did what any TikTok generation dumbass would do. I started filming, not for clout, for proof. I had this instinct in my gut that said no one's going to believe this without seeing it. I used my iPhone flashlight and tapped the wall, hollow. I pressed my ear to it and heard breathing. I heard it, slow, wet, raspy, like air moving through thick mucus. Jenna was in the hallway by then, pale as hell. I told her to stay there and grabbed a hammer from the kitchen drawer. I don't know what I thought I'd find. Maybe an animal, maybe mold, maybe a dead rat. I punched through the drywall like it owed me money. But behind the wall wasn't insulation. It was a room, maybe 5 feet wide, 10 feet deep, pitch black, but real, built into the layout. Someone, or something, had constructed it inside the architecture of our rental, hidden. There were marks on the walls, like claw scrapes, inhumanly long, and in the center of the room was a chair, a wooden chair, and on it, a phone, a Nokia flip phone, dead, covered in what looked like brown smudges, dried blood, rust? I don't know. I picked it up stupidly and flipped it open. It turned on. No boot screen, no SIM, just a black screen with a white loading bar. It filled up instantly and then played a video. No controls, no way to stop it. It was me, asleep, on the couch, the same blanket, same angle. Someone had recorded me from inside our house. Then the camera panned to Jenna, standing behind the couch. Only it wasn't Jenna. It was the thing wearing her face. Her skin was sagging, her eyes were wide and staring, and she was pointing a kitchen knife down at my throat, like she was posing for a photo. I dropped the phone. The screen shattered on the concrete floor, and it kept playing. The audio was coming from the walls, surround sound, like the whole room was wired. The sound of laughter. No, not laughter. Breathing, moaning, like something was enjoying what it saw. I ran out, sealed the wall, back up with a dresser, and told Jenna to pack a bag. We were done. But the house wasn't done with us. Later that night, we stayed at an old friend's place across town. She had cameras, motion sensors, real suburban tech mom stuff. It felt safe. Until 4:12 a.m. I woke up to my friend screaming from her bedroom. The hallway was pitch dark, but I could see movement at the end of it. A figure, barefoot, head tilted. Then it moved, fast, like skipping frames in a video. It was in front of me, inhumanly tall, face blank, holding something in its hand, a Polaroid. It placed it on the floor, turned, and vanished into the dark. The photo was of me and Jenna, taken from behind a Starbucks window. We were sitting inside, from a week ago. I remember that day. I spilled my iced chai on my hoodie. I still have the stain. Whoever took this photo wasn't just watching us. They were with us, in the store, behind us, breathing, watching. We tried to report it to the police. No evidence. They shrugged, gave us a number for a counselor. Classic. I didn't bother telling them about the war room, or the skin-wearing doppelgangers, or the phone that showed me my own death. What would they do? Run prints on a ghost. But here's where it gets worse. 2 nights later, Jenna went missing. We'd set up shifts to watch each other sleep. I took the 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. shift. She was on the couch, wrapped up in 2 blankets, hoodie over her head. I remember watching her breathing. Then I blinked, literally blinked, and she was gone. No sound, no scream, no door opening, nothing. The blankets were still there, still warm, but she was gone. And on the pillow was another Polaroid. This time it was from inside the wall. She was strapped to the chair, eyes wide open, blood dripping from her face, like her skin had been cut around the edges. The message on the back of the photo wasn't written in pen. It was burned in. "You gave her to us." I smashed every mirror in the house that night, covered every camera, deleted every cloud backup. Nothing felt safe. I started digging into every dark corner of the web, looking for signs, forums, chats, whispers of this cult, or group, or whatever the hell they are. I don't know who they are, but they don't take. They copy. They wear. They learn. And once they've learned enough, the original isn't needed anymore. That was 2 weeks ago. And now I hear scratching behind the walls wherever I go, even in public bathrooms, hotel rooms, Uber rides. It's always there. Same pattern. 3 thuds. Silence. Then breathing. Yesterday, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Just a box with my name scrawled in block letters. Inside was a mask. It looked exactly like Jenna, but the skin was fresh, still warm, and the note was short. "Now you wear her." The mask sat in my lap for almost an hour before I realized I was holding my breath. The skin, fake or real, I still don't know, wasn't warm anymore. It had cooled the way something cools, only after being held by human hands for a long, long time. The cheeks were too soft, too pliable, like it had memory in its texture. Like if I looked away for more than a second, it would shift back into another expression. I didn't sleep that night. My brain kept replaying the last time I saw Jenna smile. Not the dead-eyed, puppet-like version from the videos, but an actual smile. Messy, crooked, real. The kind of expression you don't notice until you realize you'll never see it again. The mask was on the floor by sunrise. I don't remember putting it there. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember anything except one moment, the faintest tapping on my bedroom window. Not knuckles, fingertips, like someone was pressing each finger to the glass, one at a time, testing it. I didn't move, didn't breathe, and then the blinds lifted just an inch, like they wanted me to know they weren't outside the window. They were already in the room. I grabbed my phone, ready to call someone, police, friend, anyone, but my screen turned black. Not dead, just black. I could feel the phone vibrating in my hand. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It wasn't a normal notification pattern. It felt like heartbeat pulses, like the phone itself was breathing. Then text appeared, white letters blinking like an old computer terminal. "Do not turn around yet." I froze. Another line. "We're not ready." Something moved behind me. I heard it. A shift of weight on the carpet. A slow, dragging exhale. I felt a pressure in the air, like static before a lightning strike. I wanted to scream. My throat wouldn't open. The phone buzzed again. "We want you to see her first." No, 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 no. Something touched my shoulder. Cold. Too cold. Not like a hand. More like the outline of where a hand should have been. A chill in the shape of fingers. I couldn't hold still anymore. I lunged forward, crashed into my dresser, and scrambled into the hallway. My phone dropped behind me and clattered on the floor. The screen was still lit, still typing on its own. Turn around. I didn't. I bolted downstairs, and out the door, barefoot, sprinting into the street like a lunatic. Cars honked. A guy delivering Uber Eats dropped someone's McDonald's bag on the pavement as I ran past him. I didn't care. I just wanted crowds, cameras, light, anything not inside that house. I ended up at a 24-hour Starbucks because it was the only place nearby that felt safe. The smell of burnt espresso, people tapping on laptops, teenagers scrolling TikTok, normal life. It felt like a parallel universe where none of this had happened. I took the booth in the back, closest to the security camera. I needed to be watched by something that wasn't them. After 10 minutes, I caught my breath. After 20, the normal world started to feel almost real again. Then I noticed the barista staring at me. She wasn't blinking. At first, I thought she was just some tired college kid zoning out. But she wasn't zoning at all. She was looking at me. Only at me. Her co-workers moved behind her, steaming milk, calling out frappuccino orders. But she didn't move. Just stared. I tried to look away, but it felt like her gaze was pulling at the back of my skull. This slow, magnetic tug. The air around her looked wrong somehow. Too still, like she wasn't breathing. When our eyes met, her expression changed. Her lips curled upward, not into a smile, but into the idea of one. A stretch, too slow, too deliberate, like she was learning the motion. Then she lifted her hand and tapped the counter. 3 times, the same rhythm, from behind the wall. I stood so fast, I knocked my chair over. She didn't flinch, didn't blink, just lifted her other hand and pointed behind me. No, I didn't want to look. My neck turned anyway, like something tugged on invisible strings. A man sat in the booth across from mine. He hadn't been there before. He didn't have coffee, no bag, no phone, nothing. He wore a hoodie. My hoodie. The blue one I thought I lost months ago. And his head was tilted at the same unnatural angle as the figure that visited my friend's hallway. Not broken, just wrong. Too loose. Like the bones underneath didn't match the shape they were supposed to hold. He raised his hand. I almost screamed, because he wasn't holding anything, but his fingers weren't the right length. Each was just a little too long, like someone made a copy of a hand and got the proportions slightly wrong. He curled one finger, beckoning, and when he spoke, it wasn't in any voice I recognized. It was a blend. Multiple voices layered together, out of sync. Human voices, distorted like old voicemail recordings. You're wearing the wrong face. I ran out of the Starbucks before he finished speaking. Didn't pay, didn't look back, didn't breathe until I reached the bus stop. But the bus never came, because every person waiting there, 5 people, spaced out on the bench, turned their heads at the exact same time. Perfect synchronization, no delay, no hesitation, and they all had the same expression, blank, expectant, like they knew something I didn't. Then, in perfect unison, they lifted their hands and tapped their knees, 3 times, the same rhythm. Every hair on my arms lifted. The streetlights flickered. A car alarm wailed somewhere behind us, and they all stood up at once, moving toward me, slow, deliberate, unified. I backed away so fast I tripped over the curb. My palms scraped the pavement. I didn't care. I crawled backward until I could stand again, and then ran into traffic, horns blaring, tires screeching. I didn't stop running until I ducked into an alley behind an H&M, and that's when I saw it. A message spray-painted on the brick wall. Not new, weathered, old, chipped, but unmistakable. Stop hiding. Your turn is coming. Below it, smeared in something dark, she tried to warn you. I stumbled backward, choking on adrenaline, because underneath that message was another sentence, one written recently, fresh as if waiting for me. Part of you is missing. My hands shook. I checked my pockets, my clothes, everything. Nothing was gone. Then I saw the reflection in a cracked window behind me. My face. Something about it was wrong. Subtle. Almost invisible unless you stared. But it was there. A small patch of skin on my jawline didn't move when I did. It lagged. Just a fraction of a second. Like a mask that wasn't fitted right. Like something had replaced a piece of me while I slept. Or while I blinked. I ran again. I don't remember where I went. The city blurred. Lights streaked into shapes. My own heartbeat became a drum in my ears. I made it back to my house, right before sunrise. The front door was unlocked. I knew I locked it. Inside, every light was on. My phone was sitting on the kitchen counter, screen on, recording a video. I picked it up with shaking hands. The video played automatically. It was me, asleep, on the kitchen floor. A figure crouched over me, its face inches from mine. Not touching, just studying, tilting its head in soft, curious motions. Something in its hand, something small, sharp. It held it to my cheek, and pressed, not cutting, just marking, tracing, mapping, learning. When it pulled the blade away, the video zoomed in on my face, and I saw it. A tiny patch of skin lifted, removed, like a sample, just enough to copy. The camera's final shot was the figure holding that small piece of me between its fingers and placing it into a jar, labeled with my name. The video ended. My phone buzzed. A new message appeared on the screen. You are who we say you are. Then another. Somewhere in the blur of days since I saw that skin jar, I stopped recognizing my own voice. It happened gradually. First, it was the way I said my name. It didn't sound like me anymore. Not like I remembered it from voicemail recordings or high school presentations. Then it was the laugh. It came out once, while I was scrolling through old texts from Jenna, and the sound made my stomach turn. Too high, too hollow, like a recording played back at 90% speed. I smashed the phone again. It didn't help. It never does. They always find a way back in. I've been sleeping in bus terminals and parking garages, places with overhead lights that flicker just enough to keep you paranoid. Every time I close my eyes, I feel pressure around my face, like fingers gently brushing my temples, lining up cuts, like something's checking if I'd still fit inside my own skin. The walls hum now, even outdoors, a sound you only hear if you're perfectly still, like a voice buried in power lines. And if you listen long enough, if you let your breathing match the pattern, you'll hear it say the same thing again and again. We never stopped watching. I finally decided I needed to go back to the house. Not because I thought Jenna would be there. I knew she wasn't. Not really. But there was something they left behind. I could feel it. The house was cold when I got there. Not winter cold. Empty cold. Like no one had breathed inside for years. Lights off. Curtains torn. I stepped over the broken dresser we'd used to block off the war room, heart racing. The hole was still there. But now, there were stairs. They hadn't been there before. Rough concrete steps leading down into a darkness that felt thick. Too thick. Like the air had weight. I started filming again. Not for proof, but because if I died down there, I wanted someone to see what happened. The first thing I noticed was the smell. Not rot, not blood, bleach, heavy bleach. That chemically sting that hits the back of your throat and makes your nose run, mixed with something sweeter, almost like vanilla. There were doors at the bottom, 3, each unmarked, each identical. I picked the middle one, because of course I did. Behind it was a corridor, long lined with mirrors, not normal mirrors, warped ones. Each one showed a version of me that wasn't quite right. In one, my eyes were completely black. In another, my arms were too long. One had me smiling wide enough to tear skin. I kept walking until I reached a metal vault door, big, heavy, locked with a keypad. I stared at it, heart pounding. Then it buzzed, unlocked. I never touched it. Inside was a room, tall ceilings, concrete walls, and shelves stacked to the ceiling with rows and rows of jars, each one labeled, each one filled with faces, real human skin floating in some kind of preserving fluid, lips half-parted, eyes closed. Some looked peaceful, others frozen mid-scream. One jar was cracked, the face inside curling inward like a flower wilting. There were names etched into the lids. Some were full names, others just usernames. I saw Jenna's, near the center. I touched it without meaning to, and the jar shuddered. The face opened its eyes, bloodshot, cloudy. It didn't look at me. It looked through me. Then a speaker on the wall crackled. That same garbled voice, the blend of a dozen mismatched mouths, whispering, "She doesn't belong to you anymore." I turned to run. The vault door slammed shut, locked, and then the lights went red. Siren red, flashing, on off, and between each flash, the shelves moved, closer, not sliding, shifting, like the room itself was breathing me in. A noise filled the air, a scraping wet sound, the sound of something pulling itself from inside the walls. I backed into the farthest corner, hands shaking, staring as a figure pulled itself free from the darkness. It was Jenna. No, it was wearing Jenna, but the skin hung wrong, the lips sagged, the eyes flicked side to side too fast, too wide, like it couldn't keep them steady. It crouched, tilted its head, then it opened its mouth, but instead of a scream, it clicked, a low, wet, rhythmic clicking, like teeth tapping on bone. Then came the others. They poured from the corners, crawling, hunched, all of them wearing someone. Some I recognized from missing posters, some from social media. One was me. Not me, but my likeness, my skin. Another copy. It moved like I did. Same mannerisms, same anxious little hand twitch I have when I lie. I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. The thing wearing me tilted its head and said, "You gave it to us." Then the rest of them joined in, overlapping voices, chanting, "You gave her to us. You gave her to us. You gave her to us." I curled against the floor, closed my eyes, waited. The next thing I remember, I was outside. Just outside, sitting on the curb. It was raining. The timestamp on my phone said 4:33 a.m. The exact same time Jenna disappeared. There were new texts, unknown number, no contact name, just one message. "You may leave, but we've kept your place warm." The wallpaper on my phone had changed. It used to be a photo of me and Jenna at Disneyland. Now it was a grainy still from a surveillance camera. I was in it, standing in the vault, holding her jar, smiling. But I don't remember smiling. I don't remember being in that room after the lights went red. And I definitely don't remember what I wrote on the wall, underneath her jar. But I saw it, in black marker. "This one's perfect. She fits just right." And beneath that, You ever wake up and not recognize your own breath? Not your reflection, not your thoughts, your breath. Like the rhythm of it was too clean, too mechanical, like it belonged to someone else entirely. That's what it felt like after the vault. After I saw myself smiling on a camera I never remembered facing. That was 3 days ago. I haven't blinked since. Not once. I can't anymore. Every time I try, something behind my eyes holds them open, like invisible fingers prying my lids apart with the kind of patience only ancient things have. I haven't cried, haven't eaten. Every time I try to speak, the words don't feel like mine. I taste static in the syllables, radio static, electricity. Jenna is gone, but not the way people usually are. She's not missing. She's not dead. She's somewhere else, deeper, beneath everything. And now they want me to follow, because there's a rule I didn't know. When they wear you, you go where the skin goes, and they've worn enough of me now to invite me inside. I tried to go off-grid. No tech, no Bluetooth, no screens. But it doesn't matter anymore. They don't need cameras now. They've been watching from underneath. I saw it when I walked past a sewer grate last night. I felt eyes behind it. Not rats, not people. Faces, pressed up against the metal. Human faces, some smiling, some mouthing words I couldn't hear. Some wearing masks of me. One was Jenna, but her skin was too tight now, like they'd made it fit something larger underneath. She blinked once, and her mouth opened, wide, too wide. The sound that came out wasn't her voice. It was a modem noise, like the internet itself screaming. That's when I knew I couldn't hide anymore. I had to go back, not to the house, to the real place. The one they built beneath the world. They call it the archive, not because it keeps things, because it collects skin, voices, memories, behavior, and eventually, consciousness. It doesn't kill you. That'd be easy. It absorbs you. It makes a copy so perfect that your soul becomes the backup. I had to get to it before it finished syncing with mine, so I went underground. Literally. I tracked the noise down, that high-frequency sound hidden in every device I owned. You can hear it if you record silence and pitch the audio up 700%. It's a tone buried in silence, like a dog whistle for something else. I followed it through service tunnels, sewers, boiler rooms beneath hotels that were demolished a decade ago. I found a door. No hinges, no knob, just a flat slab of concrete with a burned-in fingerprint scanner the size of a dollar bill. When I touched it, it opened, not like a door, like an eyelid. The air inside wasn't air. It was thick, wet, like breathing through silk soaked in oil. There were stairs, only 5 of them, but they took 20 minutes to walk down. And when I reached the bottom, I wasn't me anymore. I could feel it, a split in my spine, a second heartbeat, out of sync, pulsing between my ribs, something crawling up behind my face, slowly stretching the skin from the inside. The archive wasn't a room, it was a living cathedral, flesh walls, skin ceilings, bones arranged like chandeliers, and at the center was me, another version, but not the same as the doppelganger from Starbucks. Not the mask wearers. This one had grown, taller, skin tighter, eyes hollow, and behind it were thousands of others, all wearing someone. People I've seen in dreams, people from old Facebook groups, even influencers I'd followed and unfollowed and forgotten years ago. All of them, blank-eyed, watching, waiting. The other me smiled and peeled its face off, but there was no blood. No scream, because underneath was me again, smiling harder, another layer, like it had stacked them, each version of me more refined, until the final one leaned forward, face raw, skinless. It opened its mouth and said one word, "Ready." And that's when the archive opened itself. The floor unfolded, pages of skin, like a book bound in memory. I saw every moment I'd ever lived, every blink, every lie, every secret thought I never voiced, all of it written into me like code, and behind it, a throne, built from jawbones. The figure gestured toward it, offered it to me, because I wasn't the prey anymore. I was the next archivist. I don't know what that means, but I can feel it inside me, a hunger for faces, for copies, for truths people only reveal when they think they're alone. And now, I hear your voice too, reading this, breathing fast, looking over your shoulder. You blinked just now, didn't you? That's all I need. That's how it starts. You've been added, and you'll know it's begun the first time you look in a mirror and your reflection doesn't blink with you. I paid a pope on the dark web to make me believe in God. It went horribly wrong. Alright, so this might sound like a joke, but I swear on everything, this is the most fed up thing that's ever happened to me. And I've done some weird S online. Like, I've been on the dark web before. Not for anything illegal, okay? Just browsing. Out of boredom, curiosity. You know how it is. Late night, lights off, Reddit tab open, horror video in the background. But this was something else. This felt like it followed me offline. So quick background. I'm 22, living alone in a studio apartment in Pittsburgh. I'm a pretty normal dude. Gamer, night owl, crypto broke, social media junkie, Instagram, dead pixels, dark show. Nothing crazy. I work remotely for this startup that sells meal prep kits. So yeah, I've got time on my hands, especially after 1 a.m. when you start asking questions like, is God real? Or, what if I die in my sleep? Classic 3 a.m. mental breakdown shenanigans. One night last month, I was scrolling through this creepy ass thread on r/true off my chest about cursed videos. Somebody posted this comment that just said, if you want to believe, check out the Vatican room, but don't click if you're weak. And it had a Tor link. Red flag, right? Yeah, but I was deep in that bored meets insomnia meets existential crisis zone. So I copied the link, fired up Tor, VPN on, the works. The site loaded slow, like dial-up slow. First, it was just a black screen with white Times New Roman text, for those who have lost the light. And then it gave me a menu, like an actual drop-down menu. It had options like confession by proxy, digital baptism, exorcism, via webcam, rent a pope. I laughed at first. Rent a pope? Sounded like a squad post, but it had stars next to it, like 5 gold ones flashing. I clicked it. And here's where it started getting real weird. It redirected me to a payment screen. Bitcoin only. $30, flat rate. That's it. Underneath it, there was this text. A fragment of belief born through ritual. 24 hours, guaranteed. Now listen, I wasn't high. I wasn't drunk. I just thought, $30 for a weird experience. Why not? I've paid more to get my Uber Eats delivered from the wrong Starbucks. So I paid. Screen flashed white for a second. Then it said, prepare your space. Midnight Mass begins at 3:33 a.m. No download. No confirmation email. Just that. I felt a little stupid, not gonna lie. Closed the window. Brushed it off. Then at exactly 3:33 a.m., I'm talking exact down to the second, my phone buzzed. I didn't even remember leaving the sound on. It was a notification from an app I don't have installed, Vox Dei. It literally means voice of God. I googled it later. Creepy AF. I opened it. It was just a live stream. Looked like a church, but not like some normal church. I mean, this one had this long, narrow hallway made of black stone, not bricks, like volcanic, obsidian looking. Candlelight flickered across the floor. No pews, just a giant throne at the back, and this dude sitting on it. He looked like a pope, but his robes were all red, like full crimson, no gold trim. His face was covered by this veil with little crosses stitched into it, burnt into the fabric. Smoke was rising around him, but there weren't any incense holders. It looked like the smoke was just coming from the air. And then he spoke, not in Latin, not in English. It was this low, wet voice that sounded like it was coming from a tunnel underground. But somehow, I understood what he was saying. Do you wish to believe? I didn't say anything. I was just staring. Then my phone vibrated so hard I dropped it. The screen cracked, but the video kept playing. Belief is not a gift. It is a transaction. Then the screen glitched. The live stream turned to static for a few seconds. When it came back, the red pope was gone. The throne was empty, but someone was walking toward the camera. Not just walking, dragging, like their feet didn't know how to work. They were twitching, crawling, but standing at the same time. The robe was still red, but now it was wet, darker, stained. Then the feed cut. My lights flickered, just for a second. Thought it was a power thing, but my PC stayed on. Only the room lights blinked. I swear I heard someone whisper behind me. Real faint. Right next to my fucking ear. Faith is fear. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I stayed up watching YouTube on full volume, looping Luna's dumbest stories, just to hear some human voice tell me about getting caught with a vape in a school bathroom, or whatever. I needed something real, you know. The next morning, I found something under my door. Just a plain white envelope. I live in a secure building. No one should be able to just slip something into my unit like that. Inside was a card. Black, matte paper. Just 3 words written in red ink. Believe and bleed. I checked the hallway. Nothing. No cameras in that corner either. Of course. Thought that would be the end, but nah. That was just the invite. The part where they test if you'll look deeper. Spoiler. I did. I can't tell if I'm writing this as a record or as a confession. Maybe both. My windows are sealed. My doors barricaded with furniture. I didn't even know I could move alone. It's 4:13 a.m. The street outside is dead quiet, but every few minutes, I swear, I hear breathing. Not mine, right by the AC vent. Anyway, after the envelope with believe and bleed, I stayed offline for like 2 days. I mean completely offline. No Reddit, no YouTube. Didn't even check Discord. I slept with all my lights on. I started double locking the bathroom. That paranoid kind of sleep where you wake up with your heart already racing. Kept thinking, maybe it was just a prank. Some elaborate viral campaign or a horror ARG or a movie or something. Then on the 3rd day, I got an email. Subject line, your penance begins. No sender, no reply address, not even in my inbox. It was in the drafts folder, like I wrote it to myself. I opened it. Confessor, your sins weigh heavy in the holes of belief. The Pope has accepted your transaction. Faith must now be earned. You will complete the path of 3 wounds. Each will open you. Each will reveal what God has hidden. Your first wound awaits at St. Bleeding's Chapel, Pittsburgh, coordinates attached. Enter alone. Midnight. No phones. No lies. Or we come to you. First of all, there's no church called St. Bleeding's Chapel anywhere near Pittsburgh. I googled. I tried Bing. Even Facebook. Nothing. But the coordinates were real. I put them into Google Maps, and it took me to this half-burned warehouse on the edge of town near an abandoned outlet mall. No reviews. No street view. I sat on that for hours. I wasn't gonna go. I swear I wasn't. But right before midnight, I get this call from unknown. I ignore it. It calls again and again. On the fourth ring, I pick up. There's nothing on the other end, just static. Then something scrapes against the mic, like bone on metal, and a voice, low, slow, broken. The wound opens whether you come or we come to open it. I got in my car. That drive out to the coordinates. Empty roads, no lights, like something rewired the city for this one night. Every red light turned green for me. Even the gas stations had their pumps off. When I got to the warehouse, it was completely dark. No signs. Just a door painted blood red with a white cross etched into it. Not painted, scratched, like with fingernails. I left my phone in the car. Took only a flashlight. The inside smelled like wet pennies and mildew. Mold was creeping up the concrete walls. The floor was covered in ashes. Not dirt, not dust. Ashes. And in the center, a wooden confessional booth. I kid you not, like the kind you see in those old Catholic churches, but twisted. The booth was tilted, warped, like it had been half melted. One side had a curtain, the other was wide open. Inside was a leather-bound Bible with pages torn out, and above it, a single word carved into the wall in jagged, deep letters. Speak. I didn't know what to do. It felt like the air was pressing on my ribs. I stepped in, sat down, looked through the mesh to the other side. Empty, then not. I didn't see him arrive. The curtain just moved once. Then I smelled it. Rotten breath, moldy incense. That same red Pope figure from the live stream was sitting across from me. But this time, he had a mouth. And it wasn't right. It stretched too wide. Teeth like shards of milk glass. His veil fluttered like it was underwater. He didn't speak. So I did. I don't even know why. Something made me talk. I told him everything. My worst moments. Things I hadn't even told myself out loud. That one time I watched my friend pass out drunk and left instead of making sure he was okay. The way I used to lie in DMs just to get girls to send stuff. The crypto scam I ran in high school. I kept talking, couldn't stop. And after every sin, the Pope would moan, not sexually, not human, like something ancient groaning beneath the ocean. Then he whispered, "You believe now, so you must bleed." The lights cut out. When they came back on, he was gone. But the Bible on the floor was open now, pages covered in red fingerprints, and on the mirror above the booth, something had been scrolled backwards in thick black ink. "Your wound has opened." I left, sprinting, almost crashed my car 3 times on the way back. I got home, locked myself in. But the worst part, when I looked in the mirror the next morning, there was a slit on my chest, right over my heart. Not deep, just there, like a surgical incision. No blood, just a line, sewn shut with thread I don't remember. And under my fingernails, ash. I took a shower, scrubbed like I was on fire, cut my nails. But that night, around 3 a.m. again, I started hearing something tapping at my window. I live on the 5th floor. I looked. Nothing. But when I checked my laptop, the camera was on, light was red, OBS wasn't running, Discord wasn't open. I opened Chrome, and there was a new tab, one I didn't open. It was a live stream again, same obsidian hallway. Only now, the Red Pope was holding something, a photo of me, sleeping. He held it up to the screen, tilted his head, and said, 2 more wounds, 2 more truths, 2 more lies removed. Then he set the photo on fire, and I smelled smoke in my room. Real, choking, acrid smoke. When I flipped my pillow, the photo was under it, singed, corners curling, my face half burnt. I haven't left the apartment since. I've been trying to forget that night, trying to tell myself I imagined the slit on my chest, the photo under my pillow, the live stream that shouldn't exist. But something changed in my apartment after the Pope burned that picture. The place feels inhabited, not haunted, occupied, like someone invisible is pacing behind me whenever I sit still too long. I don't hear footsteps, but the air shifts, brushes past my clothes, moves my hair. And then the knocks began. Not on the door, not on the window, from inside the walls. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The email I should have deleted 3 nights after the confessional incident. I woke up to another email sitting in the drafts folder, like the last one, written as if I typed it myself. Only this time, there was no greeting. Just a timestamp, 3:33 a.m. again, and a block of text. Wound 2. You will attend communion of the unbelieved. Location, delivered at dusk. Do not invite anyone. Do not speak before spoken to. Do not lock your door. Failure to comply will result in involuntary revelation. My door was locked, double locked, bolted. I checked anyway, still locked, but the email said, location delivered at dusk. How? Where? Then someone slid something under my door. Not an envelope this time, a postcard. One of those cheap glossy ones you get from tourist shops. On the front was a drone shot photo of Times Square. Bright lights, crowds, neon everywhere. But the people in the picture had no faces, blurred or smudged out, like someone rubbed their fingers over them before the ink dried. On the back, written in dark blue ink, Communion, Booth 14, Starbucks, 6:06 p.m., Starbucks, Booth 14, Times Square. But I live in Pittsburgh. Times Square is a 7-hour drive. I thought maybe it was some metaphor, some dream place, some psychological nonsense. But at exactly 6:06 p.m., my phone buzzed. Again, from an app I don't have. Box Day I. I opened it. It was a live stream from a Starbucks. That Starbucks, apparently, the one from the postcard. I recognized the layout, the merchandise wall, the loud tourists. Booth number 14 was in frame, and someone was sitting there. Someone wearing the same red veil as the Pope, sitting at a corner booth, hands folded, perfectly still, and next to him, in the seat across from him, a cup of coffee, black, untouched, steam rising, like someone just set it down. The Pope turned his head slowly, deliberately, as if he could see me through the camera. Then the screen glitched, and the video switched. Now it was my Starbucks, the one 2 blocks away, near the river. A table was reserved, empty, chair pulled out. Someone had written 14 on the tabletop, with a finger dipped in something dark. Not blood, thicker, sticky. I don't want to know. The stream ended. A text appeared on the screen. We come when you do not. Something entered my apartment. I didn't go to Starbucks. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed in my apartment and put a chair under the doorknob. That was my first mistake. At exactly 6:06 p.m., my lights flickered. Not off, but dimmed like someone's hand passed over the bulb. The air turned cold, but not AC cold. Grave cold. Wet cold. Then I heard something drag across the floor in my living room. I thought maybe an animal got in. A raccoon, maybe. A rat. Something. But the dragging moved in a straight line. Slow. Measured. Heavy. I stepped into the hallway. Didn't even realize I was holding my breath. My living room looked the same. Couch, TV, my cluttered desk. But dust was falling from the ceiling in little puffs, like something was crawling around in the crawl space above. Then the wall behind my couch made a sound I will never unhear. A knock. Not random, not accidental. 3 knocks. A pause. 3 more. A pause. A final slow knock that echoed like hollow bone. Then, whispering. Not words, not language. Just the sound of someone whispering with intention, like breath scraping across teeth. I wanted to run, wanted to scream, but instead, my eyes drifted to the far corner of the room. Something was different. Wrong. My rug was bulging, just slightly, like someone was standing underneath it. Not lifting it, standing beneath it. Between the rug and the floorboards, I froze. Then the bulge moved. Toward me. Slow. Deliberate. Pushing up the rug in a straight line, like something was tracing its way toward my feet. I stumbled backward into the hallway, kicked the bedroom door closed, locked it, dragged the dresser in front of it. My heart was pounding so hard, my ribs hurt. Then my phone buzzed. A notification from Vox Day. Communion missed. Wound 2 will now be administered. I didn't want to open it. I did anyway. The screen showed my apartment hallway. Live. The camera was somewhere behind me. I could see my own bedroom door at the end. Something was standing there. Something tall. Skin stretched too tight over its bones. Wearing a red veil soaked in something darker than fabric dye. Fingers tapping the door like it was testing the wood. Then it leaned toward the camera, toward me, and said in a voice like rust breaking, "Open, or be opened." Then the live stream cut, and the scratching on my bedroom door began. Small at first, like fingernails tracing the paint. Then louder, harder, scraping, digging. I didn't sleep until sunrise, and when I finally opened the door, the hallway was empty, but on the floor, carved into the wood in long, deep gouges, Wound 2, accepted. I checked the mirror afterward. There was a second slit, right below my ribs, threaded shut with that same black string. I don't know how I slept through someone cutting into me. I don't know what cut into me, but the second wound is here, and they said there are 3. The third one, I don't think I'll survive it. I haven't opened my door in 3 days. Not to check the hallway, not to take out trash, not for anything. I piss in bottles now. I eat dry cereal. I've unplugged everything but this laptop. No lights, no mirrors, nothing that can reflect. I'm writing this in pure dark, except for the screen. And even that feels like it glows too bright, like they can see through it. Not just watch me, feel me, because I figured it out. The Pope isn't a man, not a demon either, not even a thing. He's an absence, a walking, speaking hole that everything bleeds into, a ritual-shaped cavity in space that pretends to be human so it can touch what isn't allowed to be touched, and I'll let him in. The new ritual. After the second wound, I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I was somewhere else. A vast, echoing corridor filled with kneeling, red-robed figures, all of them whispering the same phrase. He is not in the light. He is not in the dark. He is in what's beneath. They rocked back and forth. Some were missing arms. Others had mouths sewn shut with rosary beads. One of them didn't have skin. I remember that specifically. He was holding a glowing laptop and typing with blood-covered fingers. over and over. The Pope comes when belief dies. And one day, I woke up with another email in my drafts folder. No surprise there, but this one had a new tone. Colder, final, third wound, protocol, sacrament, the witnessing location, redacted, delivered via physical medium requirement, cut the string, let the wound open, let the light in, denial will result in bodily forfeiture, and attached, just one file, a .zip folder named mirrored_faith. It extracted into a folder of images. Every photo was of me, not selfies, not screenshots. These were taken from angles I've never been at, under the bed, behind the couch, ceiling corner above the shower. The timestamps showed different dates, weeks, even months back, all labeled like they were evidence files. Witness 1 still doubts.jpg, Witness 1 in denial.jpg, Witness 1 sleeps with lights on.jpg. But the last image, it was real time, labeled Witness_1_final_view.jpg, and it showed me, sitting exactly where I was, hands on the keyboard, mid-typing. Except, in the photo, something stood behind me. A red-robed figure with arms too long, nails curled around my shoulders. No face, just a circular void where the head should be. Not black, blank, like a ripped page in reality. I shut my laptop. Full panic. Started sobbing, ugly crying, tearing through my apartment looking for bugs, cameras, anything. I even opened the fridge, like maybe someone snuck a hidden GoPro behind the yogurt. But there was nothing. I threw my phone down the garbage chute, unplugged the router, pulled the TV off the wall. But then, knocking. Not on the door this time. On the inside of my mirror. The bathroom one. I didn't move. The knocking continued. Faster. Desperate. Then a whisper from behind the glass. You will believe. You will bleed. You will see. And the mirror cracked. Not a spiderweb crack. A perfect cross carved from inside the glass. I ran into the hallway barefoot. Didn't even grab shoes. Just sprinted down the stairs. 5 flights. Screaming. Banging on neighbors' doors. Not one opened. The whole building felt empty. Like they evacuated it just for this moment. When I got outside, the sky wasn't right. It was night, but the stars were in the wrong shape. I know that sounds stupid, but they weren't constellations anymore. They were forming words. Latin, maybe. Maybe not. Some of the stars were bleeding. I swear to you, some of the stars were dripping red. The Pope's final message. I ended up running until I collapsed in an alley behind a boarded-up Wendy's. And when I woke up, there was a package sitting next to me, wrapped in white silk, tied with a rosary. Inside was a small TV, battery-powered, already turned on, showing static. Then the screen lit up. The Red Pope was back, but his veil was off. There was no face underneath, just a pit, like looking down into the bottom of a well that had no end. There were voices coming out of it. My voice, my mother's voice, screams, laughter, every sound I'd ever heard, chopped into chaos and blasted out like a wind tunnel full of agony. Then he said the final line, and I've been hearing it non-stop ever since. Your third wound is your faith. To believe is to break. And now you will watch God bleed. Then the screen shattered from the inside. Glass flew out, cut my cheek open. But I didn't even feel it, because inside the TV shell, there was a heart, a human heart, still warm, wrapped in a photo of me as a baby, smiling, covered in blood, not mine, someone else's, and carved into the meat with a scalpel or maybe just fingernails. Wound 3, revealed. I'm not alone anymore. The third wound wasn't on my body. It was in reality. Ever since I touched the heart, things don't behave the same. My reflection lags. I blink, and it doesn't. I hear knocking in elevators. I'm not inside. My phone, which I threw away, started ringing from under my bed 2 nights ago. When I picked it up, there was just one voicemail, just breathing. Then my voice. God isn't real, but something older is, and it wears his bones. They say once you believe, you can't unbelieve. I didn't want faith. I didn't want truth. But now the world has a hole in it, and the Pope lives inside that hole. And he's waiting for you. It's not my apartment anymore. It's not my body anymore. I don't know whose eyes I'm seeing through right now, but the walls are breathing. The shadows ripple when I move. Something under the floorboards giggles when I blink too long. There's no door, no ceiling, just writhing meat stretched like silk over bone-shaped corners, pulsing with wet prayer. The air smells like old books and teeth. My skin doesn't feel like skin. It itches like burlap soaked in holy water and stitched into the shape of someone I used to be. This is what he wanted. This is what belief tastes like. The Vatican room is real. You remember the site, the one that started this? I went back. I don't know how. There was no link, no Tor browser. I just opened my laptop, and the site was there again, like it had been waiting. Same black screen, same words, for those who have lost the light. But now, there was a new option. Not a menu, not a button, just a countdown. 10, 9, 8. And beneath it, a line of text scrawled in blood-colored cursive. The Vatican room is now open to you. Faith is accepted in flesh. And then my laptop started leaking. I'm not joking. From the seams between the keys, thick black fluid began bubbling out, like tar. It smelled sweet and rotted, like perfume on a corpse. I stood up, stepped away, but the screen held my face. Not my webcam feed, just my face, staring back, but smiling. The same smile I'd seen on that baby photo from the hotbox. The same exact fucking smile. Then it whispered, "Come in." And everything around me shattered. Not physically, not like glass. More like the world just peeled, layer by layer, until I was standing in a place made of wet stone and sobbing walls. No phone, no time, just the Vatican room. It's not a room, it's a body. You walk inside it, you kneel inside it, and it remembers you. I saw God's skeleton. He was hanging from chains made of teeth and wire. No skin, no eyes, just a rib cage wide enough to walk through, a spine twisted like a question mark, and hands crucified to the ceiling with rosary nails. His skull was grinning, eternally, jaw cracked and smiled wide as it whispered backwards, Latin into the air, over and over. Ego sum non Deus, ego sum fames Dei. I'm not God. I'm what God hungers for. Underneath him stood the Red Pope. Only now, he had no veil. He had my face, not just a reflection, my exact face, my voice, my twitch, my nervous laugh. He was me. He turned to me and said, in perfect unison, "You made the transaction. You asked to believe. Now you must be believed in." And he raised his hand. Behind him, the body of not God began to shift, twitch, moan. It started to open, a slit down the chest, the same kind I had. Only now it split the corpse from throat to pelvis like a zipper made of suffering. Inside wasn't organs, it was people. People folded inside out, faces screaming in silence, mouths peeled back so wide their jaws had snapped. Every face I'd ever seen. My parents, my friends, the girl I ghosted, the guy I punched in 9th grade, all of them sewn into the walls of the thing inside God's body. And at the center, a throne, a pulsing red throne made from the first pope, the real one. I could feel it. His skull cracked open like a chalice, his arms forming the armrests, his tongue stretched across the seat like velvet. Sitting on it. Me, but not me now. Me then. Me before the wounds. Me the night I clicked the link. Me with hope in my eyes. I was crying, and the version of me on the throne leaned forward and said, I didn't want this, but you clicked. The third wound was my name. I tried to scream. No sound came out. The Pope pointed to my chest. There, beneath the 2 stitch slits, was a third one now. Open, wide. Inside it, carved into the meat of my heart like scripture. He who believes becomes the belief. And then I understood. This wasn't punishment. This was promotion. I wasn't a victim. I was the transaction, the currency. I was the belief. And so, they used me. This is the end for you. When I woke up again, I was in my apartment. Except now, every mirror reflects something that's watching. Every knock on the wall has a pattern. Every faucet leaks that black syrup. The Pope doesn't appear on screens anymore. He doesn't need to. He lives here now. Inside the silence between blinks. Inside the letters of this text. Inside you, if you've read this far. Because this is how it spreads. This is how the faith takes root. It starts with curiosity, then transaction, then devotion, and finally, witnessing. If you're reading this, then you've already taken the first step. You've seen his words. You've entered his orbit. You are now bleeding belief, and belief always collects. So here's my final warning. Don't check your drafts folder. Don't click links from unknown users. Don't answer the knock if it comes from inside your mirror. And above all, never pay to believe, because the Pope never leaves. And once you're in his church, you're part of the sermon. My uncle works at a biotech startup funded by Amazon. He gave me a free DNA kit. The results page redirected to a dark web domain named Project Taurus. Yo, so this story is gonna sound fake as hell at first, but I swear on everything I love, my dog, my girlfriend, my Nintendo Switch, it actually happened. I'll just start from the top. No fluff. It was this past summer, July. I was visiting my uncle in San Diego. Now, this guy, he's always been the weird genius of the family. You know that one uncle who says he doesn't own a microwave because it reprograms the water molecules in food? Yeah, him. Except instead of being a full-blown tinfoil hat type, my uncle actually worked in biotech, like real government-adjacent level stuff. His job was always hush-hush. Some startup working on data-driven personalized medicine, whatever the hell that means. I'd ask what he did for work, and he'd just say, stuff Amazon funds that nobody talks about. Cool. Totally not sketchy at all. I stayed at his place for a few weeks while I figured out some college stuff. And one night, we're watching Stranger Things, season 5 or whatever, and out of nowhere, he goes, "You ever done a DNA test?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm not trying to give my spit to the feds." He laughs, goes to his weird home office, which, side note, had like 5 monitors and a giant whiteboard with symbols that looked like Greek mixed with algebra, and comes back holding this sleek, matte black box. No branding, no instructions, just a tiny sticker on the front that said, Taurus 9. "Take it," he says. "We're testing a new variant sequencing model. You'll be one of the first. Faster, more accurate, and you'll get results in under a day." So like an idiot, I agree. The kit was creepy in a way I couldn't place. No swabs, no little vials. Just this small mouthpiece you plug into a USB-C port. I literally had to spit into a tube that connected to my MacBook. The app it launched wasn't even on the App Store. It just opened through a custom local HTML file. Looked clean though. Black and gold interface. Kinda like Spotify mixed with a Tesla dashboard. The app just said, "Collecting raw genome data. Please remain still." That part was weird. Like, why would I need to stay still for a saliva test? Anyway, 15 minutes go by. A loading bar completes, and it says, "Thank you, my name. Results will be emailed to you at 3:33 a.m. PST. Not, we'll email you when they're ready. Not in 24 hours. Exactly 3:33 a.m. Whatever. I didn't think too much about it. Went to bed at like 2 a.m. watching old Luna videos on YouTube. Y'all ever see the one where his friend finds a haunted USB at McDonald's? Yeah, it hit different after what happened next. At 3:33 a.m. on the dot, I get an email. Subject line just says, "Project Taurus, clearances met." No sender name. Just a weird email, like no reply at t-rs9.onion. I didn't even have a Tor browser installed, but the email forced my browser to open and redirected me to a page that said, "Welcome, subject, 90,651 genomic resonance match found. You are authorized to view class Taurus red data. Your bloodline is eligible. Enter." I remember thinking this was one of those creepy internet ARG things. You know, like Local 58 or Dad Feels. Thought maybe my uncle was trolling me. So I clicked enter. Bad move. The site looked like a Reddit thread mixed with a medical journal. First thing I saw was this high-res 3D render of a human skeleton, but the skull had horns, not real horns, but weird protrusions above the eye sockets, like someone tried to model a bull-human hybrid. Below, it was a line of text. Phenotypic deviation, Homo Taurus, Gender 4 subset B. Then there was a list of names, hundreds of them. Each name had a weird series of letters and a status next to it, either live, expired, or reactivated. I saw my name. My name, live, tag, TOE 90651, location, verified, San Diego. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I felt sick, like someone had tracked my DNA, put me on some kind of live watch list, and tied me to whatever the hell this Project Taurus was. I messaged my uncle immediately, but the text wouldn't send. I checked Instagram. His account was gone. Not deactivated. Gone. Even old DMs we'd had vanished, like he was never there. I checked Facebook. Same thing. No results for his name. No workplace listed. His LinkedIn account. Deleted. The dude had erased himself from the internet overnight. I went back to the site. Another section had appeared. Genetic propensities. Live subject Tau 90651. Increased adrenal response. Above average pain tolerance. Dopaminergic mutation cluster. Hunter type. Latent aggression under social stress. Ancestral tag match. Aegean variant. Minos. Bro, I don't even know what half of that means, but something about that hunter type phrase gave me chills. And then I scrolled down and saw a chat window. Yeah, a freaking live chat. The window said, "Welcome back, 90651. You are awake early." I closed the tab. Immediately, my webcam light turned on. I slammed the laptop shut, unplugged it, put it in a drawer, sat there for like 20 minutes in the dark, just breathing. And then my phone lit up with a notification from TikTok. A Taurus Judge Jane just tagged you in a video. I didn't even have TikTok installed anymore. I deleted it months ago after getting spammed by those dumb AI filters. I downloaded it again and opened the tag. The video was only 4 seconds long. Just 4. It was a still frame of my face, taken from my laptop webcam, clearly, from earlier that night. The caption said, TAU 90651. Observed. Initiate Phase 2. The top comment. Phase 2 initiated. With over 300 likes. I don't even know how to describe how I felt. Not fear, not panic. It was worse. Like my body already knew something was coming. Like my blood recognized the threat before my brain did. There's a lot more to this. Like how the biotech company he worked for doesn't even show up in Amazon's registry anymore. Or how 2 of my molars are gone now and I never had dental surgery. Or how the Starbucks barista near my apartment called me Taurus boy the next day and winked like she knew something. I'm not even home right now. I'm at a Holiday Inn off the I-5 with a burner laptop and a VPN I bought from a Russian site. I'll post part 2 if this doesn't get buried. If anyone's heard of Project Taurus or has access to deep web scrapers, DM me. I think they're trying to replace people, or worse, wake them up. I didn't sleep that night, not even a blink. You ever stare at a hotel ceiling at 4:46 a.m. with your brain so twisted you can't tell if your memories are yours or if someone edited them like YouTube thumbnails? That was me. And something was wrong with my body. Not like, oh, I'm sick, wrong. Like I was crawling out of myself. I was sweating cold, like freezer burn kind of sweat. My joints kept cracking when I moved. And not normal pops. These sounded like cables snapping inside me, like tendons were being rewired. My gums felt sore. Not from brushing too hard. I mean sore, like something was moving underneath them. I was shaking, but not because I was scared. I realized that part too late. I wasn't scared. I was excited. My laptop started playing music. I swear to God I didn't touch it. It was one of those deep web Russian synthwave songs. Those ones that sound like someone uploaded music from a haunted elevator in Chernobyl. A file had opened by itself on the desktop. TAU 90651.mkv. It was a screen recording of me from last night. But not just a webcam view. Nah, this was like a CCTV montage. It had footage of me walking into the Holiday Inn, me brushing my teeth, me sitting on the bed scrolling Reddit. Every angle was covered, except there was no camera in that room. I know that because I tore the place apart before I even unpacked. I checked every air vent, every mirror. I even looked behind the TV for those little pinhole cams. Nope. But the video was real. Worse, it had timestamps that didn't match reality. There were clips, like 10-second cuts, of me doing things I never remembered doing, like pacing back and forth in the dark at 3:12 a.m., whispering to myself in some language I don't speak, or scratching symbols into the inside of the hotel closet with my fingernails. I checked. The symbols were there. I had bled under my thumbnail from how deep I scratched them, and in the video, overlaid in glitchy red letters, was a phrase I'll never forget. Neo Minotaur class verified. Mind cage stable. Release. Window 72 hours. I started researching. Not on Google. That's useless. I dove into every backdoor forum you're not supposed to know exists. The ones with black backgrounds, where threads are auto-deleted after 9 minutes. Where people post photos of mirror twins in public. Where coordinates are exchanged like weapons. Where people talk about Project Taurus like it's folklore, but you can feel that undercurrent. that it's real, and everyone there is just waiting for someone to die first. I found a post by a guy named Red Circle 87. He wrote that he took the same DNA test. 2 weeks later, he tried to claw out his own eye because he claimed he could see shadows moving behind the glass of his iris. His account hasn't posted since May. His last comment was just, "They're not trying to clone us. They're trying to access the blood memory. What we were before civilization made us soft." I left the hotel. Was halfway down the I-5 when I saw the billboard. It used to be a Chick-fil-A ad, I swear. Now it was a solid black sign, all text in red LED letters. Tayu 90651. Prepare for harvest. Sanctum 8 nears. Nobody else on the freeway seemed to notice. They just kept driving, smiling, singing, eating fries. But every third car I passed had their license plate end in a 9. Every third. 999. Over and over, my hand started bleeding on the steering wheel. I drove 6 hours north, ended up in Fresno at this busted gas station. I walked in to grab a water, and the cashier, some old woman with no teeth and a perfect white uniform, looked me dead in the eye and said, "You smell like a reclaimer." I said, "Excuse me?" She slid me a folded napkin. Inside was a USB stick. I didn't take it. I turned and walked out. But the second I reached my car, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. The message said, "You left your horn behind." I looked back. She was standing in the doorway, holding the USB and smiling with this twitch, like her face was breaking apart behind her skin. I took the stick. It wasn't a regular USB. It had no data storage, just this weird metal coil inside, like a hearing aid mixed with an RFID chip. But when I plugged it in, my screen went black. A video started playing, footage of a birth, not a regular one. This was like something born from inside a tank. A baby, yes, but its eyes were open the entire time, like a shark. And when it cried, it laughed, like it thought life was a joke before it even lived it. A woman's voice came on, British, robotic. Taurus Series B, subset 90,651, echo coding successful, neural regression halted, aggression markers stable, now initiating, first blood trigger. Then it cut to black, and my screen flashed one word in white text. Remember. I woke up in a parking lot, covered in blood. Not mine. The hood of my car had a word scratched into it with what looked like claws. Labyrinth. The police never showed up. Nobody came. Nobody ever came. The next day, Instagram suggested a story to me from a verified account called At the Brutal Hive. It was a live stream. A man tied to a metal chair in a room filled with buzzing TV static. His face was blurred, but I knew that voice. It was my uncle. He kept repeating one phrase over and over. "They're inside the walls. They're inside the walls." Project Taurus is not a clone operation. It's a recall initiative. We are not their children. We are their containers. Then someone walked into the frame, wearing a McDonald's uniform, except the name tag didn't say a name. It said, Phase 3. The person leaned in close and whispered something directly into the camera. I couldn't hear it, but the closed captions automatically enabled, and it read, "You are almost open now, 90651. When you return to the Starbucks at the corner of Wilshire and Main, your handler will meet you." There is a Starbucks at that intersection, and I have been going there for years. My regular barista, she wears a septum ring and always draws a little bull emoji on my cup. So yeah, that was 2 days ago, And today I got a box delivered to my door. No label, no tracking number, just a black package. Inside, a mirror. The back had a note taped to it that said, "Watch your reflection closely. When the horns appear, it means you've come home." I haven't looked yet, but I can feel them. My skull itches when I lie. My eyes glow in photos now. And last night, when I passed someone on the street and accidentally brushed his hand, he screamed like he saw God, or something worse. And the weirdest part, when I checked my DNA file again, yeah, I kept it back up. It had one new entry at the bottom. Bloodline. Initiated Project Taurus. Phase 2. Complete. Begin Phase 3. Harvest others. I'm so sorry if you read this, because if you did, they've already pinged your location, and you might just be compatible. The Starbucks isn't a coffee shop, it's a collection site. You ever walk into a place you've been to 100 times, and suddenly it feels hollow, like the walls are thinner, like the room is breathing, like you're not entering it, but it's swallowing you. That's what it felt like when I went to that Starbucks, Wilshire and Maine, downtown LA, neon guts of the city, all around. Sirens, vape clouds, scooters chirping like dying birds. Normal shit, but not that morning. I went in at 6:06 a.m. No line, not even a barista at the counter, just that deep, droning hum, like a refrigerator was dying behind the walls. And the air, sweet, too sweet, like hot milk and plastic skin. That plasticky, sterile scent hospitals pump through the vents so you don't smell the rot underneath. The tables were all empty, except one, near the bathroom. She was sitting there, my barista, except not in her uniform. She was wearing a black hoodie with a red symbol on the chest. It looked like a maze, but when I blinked, the shape shifted, almost like it was reacting to me recognizing it. Her hands were folded. She didn't blink once. When I sat down, she slid a paper coffee cup toward me. No drink inside, just a tightly rolled Polaroid. Still wet, still smelling like fixer fluid. I unraveled it. It was a photo of me, sleeping, last night, in my own bed. But there was something wrong with it. The reflection in the window didn't match my pose. In the window, I was smiling, teeth bared like a goddamn predator, and there were horns, small, curved ones. She finally spoke. 90,651. We've been observing your molting. I asked her what that meant. She smiled. You're not changing. You're remembering. Your phenotype is unfolding. Most subjects resist. You submitted. You earned your third sight. Then she pointed at the Starbucks logo on the window. You know the mermaid? She tapped it, and I swear on everything, her finger went through it, like it wasn't glass, like it was liquid, or a membrane. A red circle glowed around her fingertip. You see this world, she said, but the others are folded beneath it, layered, bleeding through. You're leaking into them. The bathroom door swung open. No one touched it. And from inside, dripping, heavy, thick, sticky like tar falling in ropes, the air smelled like burnt hair and copper pennies left out in the sun. She handed me a lanyard. It was my high school ID, but the name was blurred, and the picture had black pits for eyes. The back said, "Authorized for descent. Hold no names. Eat the forgotten." She whispered, "Go to the sink. It'll open." I got up. Legs didn't feel like mine. They felt pressurized, like they were full of steam, like every step was a release valve, keeping my bones from cracking open. I stepped inside the bathroom. The mirror was gone. Instead, where it should have been, was a square hole carved into the tile, filled with water. I say water, but it wasn't wet. It shimmered like skin, like a stretched eyeball, rippling when I breathed near it. The sink had teeth. They weren't fake. They were molars, canines, bicuspids, arranged in a perfect circle around the drain. There was something in there, watching, not from below, from behind the glass, as if the sink was a window, and behind it was another room, another world, and in it, they were waiting for me. The Starbucks door slammed shut, lights flickered, all of them, at once, and the barista said, almost lovingly, "Your blood has gestated long enough. It's time to enter your ancestral nest." Then the faucet turned on by itself. Instead of water, it poured out black bone dust, like cremated remains being regurgitated by something mechanical and ancient. The sink filled, over the teeth, until I saw my own face reflected back. But it wasn't me. It was another version, smiling, mouth sewn shut with silver wire. And behind that reflection, emerging slowly from the black murk, were others, people in hospital gowns, in trench coats, in birthday hats, all with missing mouths or missing eyes, all reaching for the surface of the mirror sink. Their hands were backwards, every one of them. The sink snapped shut like a jaw. Blood sprayed across the tiles. Mine. One of my fingernails was gone. Just gone. No pain, no ripping, just absence. My fingertip was smooth, seamless, like I never had a nail to begin with. The barista was behind me. She whispered, "You've been molten for days. The old flesh peels away between sleeps. That's why you don't dream anymore." And then she pulled something out of her hoodie pocket. A phone. My phone. But it was locked to a screen I'd never seen before. Black interface. Red glyphs. It said, Project Taurus, Sanctum 8, entry code, accepted initiate feral burst. Yes? Yes? No, no option. Just yes or yes. She handed it to me. I tapped the second. Why? The world split. Not like a metaphor. It split. I could hear the crack, like ice forming across my ears, like a zipper being yanked across a continent. I saw everything. Under Los Angeles, under the pavement, beneath the subways and sewer systems, there were chambers, curved, cyclopean, bone-lined passages that pulsed like veins, and inside them were thousands of us, versions of me, each one with different configurations, some with horns, some with extra faces growing out of their shoulders, some fused to chairs, some blind, some wired into massive rotating machines like cogs, and all of them screamed in sync. One massive cosmic chorus of suffering and awakening and birth. I came to in a Starbucks storage room, a single bulb, flickering, my shirt soaked in blood and mucus. My spine felt longer. I could hear colors, and taped to my chest was a Polaroid of a child. At first I thought it was me, but no. It was a child with my face, but younger. Eyes solid black, no mouth, and behind him, my uncle, wearing the same red maize hoodie, smiling. My phone buzzed again. A new message, from a number just called, Sanctum_8. The maze bends to the mind. You will see doorways where others see walls. Feed the Taurus, harvest 3. Begin your culling. 3 names were listed below. People I knew. My ex-girlfriend, my middle school English teacher, and my best friend's younger brother. I don't know how they were chosen, but I knew where they'd be, and when, and somehow, what they tasted like. I left the Starbucks, but I didn't feel like I was walking anymore. I felt like something was wearing me and smiling through my skin. If you're reading this, you're already in phase 1. You've been observed. I followed the first name. I didn't want to. I didn't even think I was going to. But when I tried to walk away, like literally tried to get in my car and leave, I blacked out. I woke up 2 hours later, behind the wall, parked across the street from her apartment. The phone in my lap just said, "Good. Remember, 3 for Ascension." My ex's name pulsed red on the screen. Her building looked normal, but the lights in her window blinked in a rhythm. Morse code. I checked. It translated to, "Nest waking. Offer the key." I had no key, but my left palm started bleeding. No wound, just blood dripping in a perfect circle. And I swear to everything, I saw something crawl out of my shadow. She answered the door wearing headphones. Didn't even hear the knock. Just opened it like she was expecting a DoorDash. She looked tired. Eyes like she hadn't slept in days. When she saw me, she blinked slowly. And then she said, "You've been in my dreams. You looked hungry." And then she smiled. Like she wasn't scared. Like she was ready. I didn't kill her. I wish that's what happened. Because what actually happened, I split her. Not with my hands. Not with a knife. With my voice. I said her name aloud. Her full name. First, middle, last. Slowly. And the moment I finished, her pupils dilated to full black and her spine cracked backward like someone snapping a glow stick. Her body folded like a paper doll in reverse. Limbs bent the wrong way. And something inside her peeled away. I saw it. Like a second skin, made of light and insect limbs and smoke, slither out of her chest and coil up into a corner of the ceiling. It hovered there, twitching. Then it looked at me and vanished. Her body dropped, mouth open, no breath, but she was smiling. In her chest cavity, where the sternum had broken open like a flower, was a small black cube. Metal. Pulsing. I took it. I knew to take it. It whispered, "1." The second name was harder. Mr. D, my 8th grade English teacher, the only adult in my life who ever gave a damn. I didn't want to go, but my hands drove me. They twitched until I typed his address, until I followed, until I stood outside his house at 4:04 a.m., the hour the air doesn't move and dogs don't bark and every light feels like a threat. I walked into his backyard. The sprinkler system was on, spraying in perfect loops, but the water smelled like bleach and something sweeter. He was sitting by the pool, fully dressed, like he was waiting. And when I stepped out of the dark, he said, with zero hesitation, "I told them not you. I begged. You were supposed to sleep through it." I asked him what it was. He didn't answer, just handed me an old copy of Lord of the Flies, pages warped with water damage. Inside the book was a photo, a child version of me, standing next to him, both of us wearing hospital bracelets. Mine said, 90651, aggressive variant, mouth to remain stitched. He had been watching me since then, since childhood. He knelt, pulled open his own shirt. His chest was marked with the same glyph I'd seen on the Starbucks barista, the red maze. "I'll do this one," he said. "You just collect." Then he bit off his own tongue, bit it clean off. Blood sprayed in a circle, not random. It landed in a perfect spiral around the pool, and his body sank into the water. Not floated, sank, like a stone. I looked down, and there it was, cube number 2, floating on the surface, spinning, whispering, 2. The last one was a boy, 15, my best friend's younger brother. Always looked up to me, always tried to impress me, the kind of kid who sends memes at 3 a.m. and wants you to notice his new haircut. I couldn't do it. I swear to you, I couldn't. So I tried to disappear. I drove into the desert, left my phone in the ditch, broke my SIM card, slept in a junkyard car trunk with a knife clutched in my palm. And still, he found me. Walked up to the car, like he'd known all along, knocked 3 times, said, "I'm ready. They told me in the dream. You're the vessel." And then he opened his mouth. No tongue. But there was something else in there. A third cube, wriggling, attached to the roof of his mouth by tiny metal spines. He pulled it out with both hands, screamed, collapsed. The cube glowed and whispered, 3. When I placed them together, the cubes began to melt. They fused, hissed, formed a perfect sphere, black and veined, like a tumor wrapped in metal thread. My phone vibrated. A new message. Ascension begun. Proceed to the catalyst. Epcot Center, Florida. Entrance code. Hollow horn. Your body is no longer yours. That was 3 days ago. I haven't eaten, haven't pissed, haven't blinked without seeing them behind my eyelids. Those others, walking in mirrored malls, sleeping in subway bathrooms, hanging upside down in airplane cargo holds, wearing our faces, waiting, watching. I'm on a Greyhound bus now. Epcot's 2 hours away. There's a man across from me with a scar that spirals around his neck like a drill mark. He's humming, and I swear, I know the tune. It's what my heart started beating to last night. Each thump a countdown, each breath a trigger, and the final phase hasn't started yet, but I feel it, like horns pressing through my thoughts. I arrived at Epcot during an evacuation, not for weather, not for violence. There was no announcement, no cops, no chaos, just stillness. People moving in long, patient lines like cattle through invisible chutes, smiling, nodding, clapping each other on the back with their eyes half shut. The staff didn't speak. They held up signs instead, all hand-drawn, all the same phrase. Maintenance protocol, ascension floor undergoing final cleansing. A teenage girl holding a Donald Duck plush stepped into the lake near the bridge, walked in, never came back up. Nobody screamed, nobody noticed, except me. The sphere, spaceship Earth, was lit in red. No sparkle, just deep internal red, like it wasn't lit from lights, but from inside the metal, like it was breathing. I showed the man at the maintenance gate the code on my phone. Hollow horn. He didn't look at it, just touched my neck, not with his fingers, with his tongue. It split in 2 as it reached my skin, warm and dry like a hand from the inside of an oven. He said, "You're on time. The others are late. You were always their marrow." He opened the gate. I stepped into the underbelly of Epcot, not the public tunnels, the real ones. You don't understand. The park is hollow. It was never built on the ground. It was grown above something else. The tunnels turned to stone, then meat, then something older. The further I went, the less my phone worked. Not dead, melting. The glass on the screen bubbled and hissed and formed glyphs I couldn't read, until it said, "Prepare to replace the architect." The walls started to bleed, not like blood on them, like the walls themselves were bleeding. Red-black ichor seeping in veins that pulsed when I breathed. Then came the smell. Burnt memory. Old milk. Paper in a wet mouth. And I heard something. Not footsteps. Fingertips. Hundreds of them. Drumming from inside the walls. And then I saw it. The architect. The thing that built Project Taurus. It wasn't a person. It was a mass of people. Melted together. Spine by spine, fused with cables and piping and cathedral bones. It breathed through its mouths, yes, plural, and each one spoke a different language in sync. Hebrew, Latin, Aramaic, even Morse code and binary tapped through its jaw hinges, and it spoke to me. You have been filled. The others failed. You carried 3. You split the veil. You are our next. Then it opened, literally opened, like a door, folding back flesh and ribs and steel rods. Inside its chest cavity was a throne made of teeth, mirrors, and infant spines. A spiral staircase led up into it, and at the top, in a pot of membrane, was me, sleeping, not like a clone, not like a hallucination. It was me, but cleaner, smoother, my face without trauma, my arms without scars. I touched the glass. Its eyes shot open, pure black, no iris, no whites. It smiled, and I realized I wasn't ascending. I was being replaced. The architect vomited my name in a dozen voices. Then the mirrors shattered, and I saw them all. Every version of me, from every timeline I'd ever almost lived. One where I joined the army and died in Kabul. One where I was a school teacher and jumped from a bridge in 2020. One where I died at birth, twisted by an umbilical cord. All of them were watching. And behind them, the Taurus. It wasn't a symbol. It was a god. Horned, faceless. Its skin a mesh of chrome and breathing mouths. Its limbs stretching into cities. Its fingers, the skyline itself. The Starbucks, the Amazon server farms, the McDonald's distribution centers, the theme parks, all part of its nervous system. And we were its neurons, its errors. It was recalling us, purging the anomalies, replacing us with cleaner, programmable flesh. They made me watch each person I'd known, each bloodline variant, each tainted node. They fed them to the root. The spheres in the chest of the architect weren't symbolic. They were incubators, and the fluid inside wasn't saline. It was liquefied identity, names, memories, facial recognition data, taste profiles, trauma clusters, DNA broken down into behavior. I screamed, didn't mean to, but the architect reached inside me, not physically, genetically, and I felt everything shift. You ever feel your lungs turn, not collapse, turn, like pages, like your body is a book and someone else is writing in it? That's what happened. I screamed with a voice that wasn't mine anymore, and then my skin sloughed off in one piece, perfect, whole, like I was just a costume, and the thing inside me stood up, smiled, and walked back out of the park. I'm still here, somewhere in this mass, this throne of mirrors and names and discarded skin. They replaced me. They put on my memories like a hoodie. And the worst part, I can still see. I'll watch the new me log back onto TikTok, comment on videos, hold hands with friends, smile in photos, but the eyes don't blink right. The smile is too smooth. And at night, it logs into the dark domain. It checks the list. And every day, more of you are being added. I was phase 3. You? You're already on phase 1. You opened the email. You saw the code. You let the story in. And now, when you close your screen and look in the mirror, check your teeth. If you see a molar that's cracked, if your gums itch at 3:33 a.m., you're already molting. And soon, you'll hear the architect calling your name, one syllable at a time. And when you do, you'll understand what I mean when I say, this isn't a creepypasta, it's a retrieval. Project Taurus, complete. Next node, injection, you.